Welcome to episode 3 of the Lightning Round. I'm your host, Lightning.
I'm your co-host, Trashy.
To start off, we've got a little bit new, a new format to go through. First of all, instead of interviews, we will be having episode reviews for the beginning of the podcast from now on, or at least until season 3 ends. So, coming up next will be our review for the Crystal Empire, parts 1 and 2. In addition to that, there will also be changes with the the PMTV segment, which is our videos and our music segment. And in addition to talking about the videos, we will also have a 30-second clip from each one, and we'll also have a 30-second segment from each of the songs as well. Other than that, it should be all the same stuff. So, a little bit new things to go through there, as well as there's some new content on my channel. Too Shy for a Rainbow Chapter 2 has been uploaded, so if you've been following along with my readings, definitely go and check that one out. And with that, we'll head into the episode review for this week. Alright, so first up this week, we have something new for all you guys. Being that Season 3 has started right now, we are going to be doing episode reviews every week as part of our podcast. So this week, we will be reviewing episode 1 and 2 of Season 3, The Crystal Empire. Joining us will be our new guests for this section every week when we do our episode reviews. AR will be joining us.
Hello, everybody.
So, why don't we get started with this one? Season 3 started with Celestia sitting in her throne room, and she gets some unsettling, Information, yes. She's simply told that it has returned.
There are so many it's in Equestria, though.
There are so many it's. But she writes Twilight immediately and says, you need to come to Camelot. And this is where the whole test comes in. And of course, Twilight being Twilight, we have a little bit of a flashback to episode 3 of season 2, and she starts freaking out about this test that Celestia supposedly has for her. I thought it was kind of funny.
It was humorous. I liked when she threw the quills into the bag and they stabbed the back of it, and then she crushed Spike with a giant book.
Yes, and then of course she uses some kind of spell and the entire treehouse flies into the air and then comes back down.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
Oh, look, people, Rash is here too.
Of course Rash is here. He's always here.
In the shadows, hiding, watching us.
And then it puts us over to Camelot after that whole episode, and we finally see something that a lot of fans were waiting for, more Luna.
Luna!
And what's even more interesting is the conversation that they're having when they show her. Her and Celestia are talking, and they start talking about this is a test for Twilight, and if she passes this test, we'll know for sure that she's ready to move on to the next level of her training.
Which sounds like epic foreshadowing to me.
And it also reminds me of Jedi-ness. For some reason. You all ready for your next path of the training, young Padawan? I don't know. Anyways, after my stupidity, we continue with the story.
So, Luna eventually, the way Luna was acting was kind of interesting too, because she has absolutely no faith in Twilight whatsoever, just by the way she was talking. She's like, are you sure she's ready? Are you sure she can do this? We can't let the Empire fall again.
Again.
Yeah, I know. And so, I don't know, it felt kind of weird that Luna just had no faith in Twilight at all.
Considering that Twilight helped Luna out in quite a pickle, or jam, or candy cane. Candy wrapper, there we go. That sounds fine.
Right, yes, okay.
Anyways.
Anyway, right after that conversation, Twilight walks into the room. Saddlebags just packed full of stuff. And, that's when she finally learns what her test is. Celestia says that, the Crystal Empire has returned, and just the fact that 1,000 years ago, it was taken over by King Sombra, and eventually he was overthrown, but not before he cursed it, so that it would disappear for 1,000 years. And now that those 1,000 years have passed,
not 1,000 years involved in stuff, and not just My Little Pony, but everything. I mean, Luna was gone for 1,000 years. Well, Nightmare Moon, technically. Then you had the return of this empire, so.
It's gotta make you think about this, like, okay, if the Crystal Empire disappeared 1,000 years ago, and Nightmare Moon was banished 1,000 years ago, did that happen like the same time?
Probably, and it also makes you wonder, how epic was 1,000 years ago? What exactly happened on that entire year 1,000 years ago? There's so much crap that went on.
Apparently a lot of things.
I know, right? And Ponyville still wasn't founded. Anywho.
So, one of the coolest parts about this whole explanation that Celestia gives is, something that I thought was really cool the animators put in there, is when Celestia ends up using, like, dark magic.
Oh, yes.
I thought that was really, really cool. Way that
I like the new sort of aspect that the dark magic brings into it, that they're able to use it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It brings a new element to the series itself, I think.
And I don't know about you guys, but I've seen a lot of different fan art and stuff that's comparing this, and when they use this dark magic, it kind of brings back memories of Aku from Samurai Jack. I mean, doesn't it? I mean...
Yeah, it does. Samurai Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah. I miss that show. Anyway.
So, she tells Twilight that it's gotta be you've gotta be the one who essentially helps Cadance and Twilight, Cadance and Shining Armor, bring this piece to...
Yeah, find a way to protect the Empire from the dark magic.
Right.
Otherwise we're screwed. Good luck, Twilight!
And, that's when the first song comes into play that's been spoiled, and as the way we're gonna do this for the...
We're gonna sing it for you guys, so be prepared, get your popcorn.
Yeah, we are not going to sing it.
Well, we should sing it.
No.
However, we will, we're gonna put it in right now. The way we're gonna do this is there's ever a song in an episode, we're going to play it for all of you guys, and then we're gonna talk about it after it's done playing.
Oh.
So, why don't we go to the song right now?
Okay.
And, Rashi, you can put that in there in editing, right?
Yep.
Okay. So now this song is really interesting in a couple of ways, because she's almost, like, depressed. When the song came out, you're almost guessing that she failed whatever test that she had because of the way she was singing. But then again, during the song it does mention that she says, you know, I'm not sure if I can pass or fail this test, but still. I think one of the main points of this song wasn't necessarily the lyrics for it, but the animation that was done during it, because this is where the whole windswept mane came into
all those
play.
fancy animations that weren't in there before. They
Yes.
had wind, jumping, Spike singing, skipping, and math. You can't beat that in a song.
I mean, this was one of the very first spoilers that came out for the show.
It was the first spoiler that came out for the new episodes.
And it showed us, it was our first look at the animation that they're putting into this, which has been improved by leaps and bounds, even since season 2, which was also an improvement over season 1. So they're getting a lot better, which I think is really good.
It tends to be.
And what did you guys think of the song? Just compared to the other ones from season 1 and 2. I mean, we all have our favorite songs. So I mean, where does this one rank?
So do you mean just this one song, or all the songs in this episode? Or
we'll get to the rest of them later, but for right now, just this song. How does it rank among the rest of them?
Well, Rashi's a musical genius. Unless he has some internet problems.
And my network keeps going down.
Oh, see, that explains it right there.
Okay, we'll try this again. Okay, so what did you guys think of the song? How does it rank for you guys?
Rashi?
Well, I thought it was pretty up there. It's definitely... Does the song itself, or does the animation go with it?
Well, it's the song itself right now.
Yeah,
we discussed the animation.
Yeah.
The song itself definitely ranks up there, especially since Spike has a little cameo in the song this time.
Spike.
Which is... it was the first time he sang, wasn't it?
Yep, it was.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so that was definitely new. It definitely ranked up there. I like the whole... when it first came out, there was mostly guessing about what it meant, but after seeing the show, it wasn't... It was showing her fear for failure, which we've seen before.
Yeah.
In a much more upbeat kind of form than it was last time.
Upbeat? She was depressed.
She was singing...
She was worried, we'll put it that way.
The singing was upbeat, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
The tune was.
Yeah.
I guess I'll give my thoughts on the song. A very well done song, personally. I really did enjoy the Spike cameo. It's something different because you wouldn't expect Spike to sing at all because he's a dragon. Dragons sort of have a hoarse voice as they get older, so him singing young makes a bit more sense. But I don't know, maybe when he gets older, he'll have like a suave Prince Charming sort of voice, or like a Frank Sinatra voice. That'd be pretty interesting right there. But overall, I really did enjoy the song. Personally, when we get to it, I'm going to say this now, I enjoyed the reprise more, and I'll say why when we get to it.
But one thing I got to mention about the whole Spike singing was that when it was spoiled, when it was previewed at the San Diego Comic-Con, it was funny because it was during that time that I think Kathy Westlick was like, yeah, maybe Spike will be able to sing one of these days. And
I remember that.
And then, of course, by the end of that panel, they were showing the song. So I thought that was kind of funny that she spoiled it before the song actually came on. So that was pretty funny. But yeah, overall, pretty good song. Only problem was that it was short. You know, you can't. For me personally, it can't rank up there with the other ones like Art of the Dress and Smile, 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 and Winter Wrap-Up if it's that short.
Actually, I think the length of the song was just fine. I didn't think it was too short. I think it fit well for what it needed to do there in this part of the episode and cover her thoughts well and emotions and stuff like that. So I think the length was just fine for her personally. That's just me, though. You have your own opinions.
Right.
Your own lame opinions. I mean special opinions.
So, after the song, she meets up with the rest of her friends, says, we're going to the Crystal Empire. And that's...
They're like, huh?
And that's when we get to see the return of Shining Armor. And personally, I was extremely excited for this. This was another one of those scenes that was spoiled, by the way. They had that Wired article or whatever, and this, this was linked from there.
It was released a few days just before the episode itself released.
Right, and I was really excited. One of the first things I said about Season 3 is that I really want to see more Cadence, I want to see more Shining Armor, and I want them to flesh out those characters more, being that we just met them in the season finale. So, for the season premiere, I'm glad that they finally brought them back.
And I'm glad they didn't use the elements of harmony in this.
the elements of harmony weren't even mentioned. This was
exactly.
not even an option.
I approve.
So, that was really interesting.
Yeah.
So, by the way, just going back a little bit, I want to mention how it's really strange how the stained glass in Camelot works, because, if you notice at the beginning, they had a new stained glass of Cadence and Shining Armor defeating Chrysalis.
Uh-huh.
And at the very end of the episode, they have another picture, another new stained glass. I just thought it was kind of weird how they have to
Celestia pre-orders him. You see, Celestia being all omnipotent power she is,
She
really trolls every single person pony there. Person pony. It's a new term people start using as a meme. Person pony. Write that down. But what it is that she just trolls him and she knows what's going to happen but makes him do things anyways. Just for kicks, and she pre-ordered that. It was in the back. So, stuff like that happens.
In the back.
I'm pretty sure. That's my theory. I can be all theorist and stuff like that, I believe. In a way, in the cardboard box to the left. Alright, moving on.
So, the reunion with Shine and Armor, however, is short-lived. He starts talking about, it's going to be dark soon. You don't want to be out here after dark. There's,
I will say this right now. That scene really reminded me of Hoth.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
don't know why. But when I saw Shining Armor walk up in that scarf, I'm like, why is this reminding me of Hoth?
No, there was no question about it. The outfit that he was wearing, the glasses and stuff like that, complete reminder of Hoth. I mean, I don't think anyone didn't have flashbacks.
I mean, I expected him to pull out a lightsaber and start fighting that giant smoke cloud and then wake up hanging upside down from a ceiling. But that's just me.
So, as AR said, this giant smoke cloud appears and starts chasing them. This is obviously the shadow form of King Sombra. And I thought it was really interesting how, as they're running away, Shining Armor takes the initiative to kind of turn around and face off against King Sombra. Of course, it doesn't work very well.
I would think he would run backwards and shoot lasers at him, but that's just me.
And it turns out that Shining Armor was fine, except for his horn was apparently hit by some kind of curse or whatever, and he wasn't, it blocks him from using his magic.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was really cool because it had like black crystals coming out of it and stuff like that.
It looked like barnacles going off the side of a boat. That's what it reminded me of.
I thought they actually did pretty good on that because they didn't tell you what happened. They showed you what happened.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. Because he tried to use his magic and it showed that it was blocking it and he couldn't use it anymore. So that was pretty cool. And by the way, I don't know why, it just seemed kind of weird to me, but, he had the big coat and the scarf and the stuff like that on him, and as soon as he went through the portal, after the fight, nothing. He wasn't wearing anything anymore.
He was naked!
I just thought that was kind of weird that all of the entire getup just disappeared.
He did get a scuffle with a giant black cloud that looked more like a tornado, so it they can pull it off and it flew away.
I don't know. I suppose, but I can't remember from the season finale. Have we ever seen him without any clothes on? Like, I thought he was always at least wearing his armor, the
Captain shining armor. You think he'd almost always wear, but no, he was naked a lot in this episode. Now that I think about it, it's so weird to say that. Anyway,
moving on. One of the funniest scenes from the entire episode is what came next. Because you got Verity walking through the Crystal Empire, and her and Gems, and how that all works out. And she's just in awe about this entire thing and just freaking out. And when Crystal Ponies are mentioned, she just flips. Absolutely flips. And that was probably one of the high points of the episode.
For him.
Her reaction.
And her reaction was funny, yes. That one of the high points for me, though.
Well, one of. There's a lot of them in this.
Yeah, there's a lot, definitely.
So, then Shannon Armor brings them all to Cadence. And
Cadence, I don't know what to do with them.
Cadence looks awful. Just looks completely worn out and everything, and of course they do their little sunshine.
I thought she aged by 2,000 years, but that was just me.
They do their little sunshine chant or whatever, trying to be cute. And
Cadence in her old woman voice now because she looks so old.
Well, she just looks old because she's been using her magic.
Sunshine, no, I'm not going to do that. All right, moving on.
But yeah, the way these shield spells work is just kind of weird because they had Shining Armor use his in the season finale last year, and now Cadence is using her magic to save the Crystal Empire and block it from harm. And I thought it was weird because Shiner Armor was having difficulty with his spell last time as well. So apparently these are like, but as they're talking, they said, you know, we should probably talk to the Crystal Ponies and see, you know, what we can find out about this to help us.
Tell them that they're screwed. I mean that we're doing our best.
So what I want to know from you guys is that finally we get to see these Crystal Ponies. What are your first impressions of Crystal Ponies?
I noticed their eyes right away. They were different.
Yeah, like the little white spots are now like crystal shaped.
Yep, and I noticed that they were ponies. That was about all that I could tell when I first saw them. Eyes are slightly different, and they're ponies. And their manes are shaded instead of being the normal colors that aren't like, they don't normally shade the manes as well as they shaded these ones. They had a bit of hue and shading involved in.
Yeah, it looked almost, well, it looked
much better. Mike's up.
You know, you understand that these are ponies that are supposed to be made of crystal.
And shatter upon it, no.
Granted, they're all kind of like depressed right now, and so they weren't shining like they usually do. But yeah, the crystal shading was pretty evident when you first met them, and apparently they all had some kind of like amnesia, I guess you could say, because they either couldn't or didn't want to remember what had happened to them 1,000 years ago.
Yep. After all, it was a long time ago, so.
And this was another one of those scenes that was spoiled. There was a preview that was brought out, and one of the biggest things that people noticed was Pinkie Spy.
Pinkie Spy? Oh my gosh, really? That's a meme now?
I don't know if it's a meme, but it's definitely up there. I mean, when that scene came out, there was so much fan art, just so much stuff that people brought out, and it was pretty funny. You have to admit, just her walking around with the night vision goggles and the black clothing.
It was brownish black.
Well, whatever. It looked black to me.
Racist. No, I'm sorry. That was uncalled for.
But it doesn't even stop there either, because then they all come back together, and this blew my mind. Fluttershy walks up to Twilight, and then all of a sudden, like, Pinkie Pie just drops this Fluttershy costume.
Yeah, that's what got me laughing. I was like,
that was
what?
Crazy.
That was funny.
Fluttershy walks up, and all of a sudden it's Pinkie Pie that was wearing a Fluttershy costume, and I'm like, that was amazing.
That was funny. I did not expect that.
Oh, yeah, definitely didn't.
I like Fluttershy's reaction to the costume on the ground.
I know. She was like afraid of it. That was awesome. Oh, that was epic, and I can't believe they actually put that in there, because that was really cool. So then, the only thing that they came back with was that, oh, there's a library. We told of a library.
Yeah.
And Twilight's reaction to the library was just like,
books
everywhere.
Books.
There are no words.
All the books.
And I don't know. What did you guys think about the Crystal Librarian? Because she was pretty funny. I don't know if I actually work here or not.
That was funny.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And so they all look through all these books.
I like Twilight spinning around in a circle looking at everything. I found that humorous more than the, do I even work here?
Yeah.
I found that more humorous. Just the way she was just spinning in a circle and walking. I just found that humorous.
And, they do actually find a book. One book entitled The History of the Crystal Empire.
It was under E.
It was under E. Oh, wow. But, I mean, they find this book, and it talks about this Crystal Fair. The Crystal Fair is apparently this thing that they held where they would use their magic to power the Crystal Heart, and...
Well, the fair was to lighten the spirits and
lighten the
morality and everything.
And
it was
protect
like a pep rally.
It was to protect the Crystal Empire, which is exactly what they're trying to do. Look at that. They're trying to protect.
Coincidence.
So, and that's the next song that comes into play.
Well, actually, they go tell Shining Armor and Cadence, like, do it. They're all right, we will. They're like, you better. Yes, we will. I don't know.
And of course, that is, I'd say, better than the failure success song they had at the beginning of the episode. I liked it a lot better.
I agree as well.
I'm not sure what it is about it, but like, I don't know. It's one of the songs that has all 6 of them singing, which I think are the best songs, or the ones that have all of them included in it.
Yeah. But, yeah. Did you already show them the song yet, or no?
Hmm?
Did you show the song already? I don't remember.
Yes.
Okay, good. I have bad memory. Alright, so, actually, no, you cut out when you were saying you were going to show them the song. Anyways. Ouch, I hit my microphone. Alright, anyway. Do you want my opinion on the song, or?
Yes, I want to hear what you guys think about the.
It was terrible. No, it wasn't. I really enjoyed this song a lot more than the first one in this new season. Personally, for me, this song does rank high. It's in my top 10 now, I believe. At 9 or not. Wait, no. There's only like 10 songs in this entire series, anyways. Anyway, moving on. So, what I really didn't, I really did enjoy the way this song flowed and how they introduced the whole aspect of this crystal fire into the song, and each of the things that each of the characters are doing relates to their Kingdom Hearts talent. Of course, I mean, Twilight's organizing things, Applejack's picking berries, you got Fluttershy getting ewes, or lamb children. I'll call them lamb children. That's another term. Right, that one down too. Yeah, lamb
technical
children.
Term.
I believe they called them tiny ewes.
They are ewes. That is a lamb child.
Lamb child.
Lamb children. All right, so I really did enjoy the song and the way it played. It's one of my newer favorites now.
Yeah, it definitely played off of their personalities. I mean, Rainbow Jousting was probably one of the. I'm
going to say this right now. Jousting, that is a very deadly sport. Like, they really mentioned jousting in this series, because jousting back in the day, it was very, very dangerous.
Oh yeah,
and so I'm wondering, with ponies, that'd be even more dangerous, I think.
Well, and another cool thing, I don't know if you guys agree, but I mean, you had it in the Hearthstone and Eat episode, and now you have it in this one. Rainbow Dash in armor is just awesome.
Yes.
Yes.
I love Rainbow Dash in armor because she's just so cool. I guess you could say.
Or awesome.
Yes.
Very, very awesome.
Awesome-rific.
And I don't know, is it
Splendiferic?
Is it a Pegasus thing?
What?
Because I mean, it seems like it's always the Pegasus that are wearing the armor. Even the armor itself, when she puts it on,
Pegasus are race of warriors.
Like there's holes for the wings and everything. So I mean,
yeah. The thing is, the Pegasi are more of a race of warriors and athletes than the other ponies. The Earth ponies would definitely be more a part of jousting as well, I would think, because all crystal ponies, I've noticed throughout the entire episode, all the crystal ponies is just Earth ponies. The only thing they have is magic that isn't transmitted through horns, like a unicorn. So all the crystal ponies naturally are Earth ponies with their own special magical abilities that only they have.
That is kind of interesting that you mentioned that, because I guess you could count this as now you have Earth ponies, Pegasi, unicorns, and crystal ponies. Crystal ponies are like their own race now.
Yeah, that is pretty much what I assumed from this, because it's its own empire as well. And so when I noticed that, I'm assuming that the crystal ponies are their own race because of their special ability to use magic without a horn.
It would be really interesting if now that they have this race of crystal ponies in the Crystal Empire, if some of them move to Ponyville and we start seeing them as background ponies and stuff like that.
That would be very interesting, but I don't know if that'll happen. I mean, they live in the north. I don't get why they live in the Arctic. That's a terrible place to live.
I suppose. Well, yeah. I mean, but
like I was thing with the, I didn't finish with the Pegasi or Earth ponies, but yeah, like I was saying, it's more of the Pegasi who are into like the major, athletics and sports in the races, I would assume, because of their natural...
Their origins, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be my take on it.
Yeah.
Especially how they've just been portrayed.
Yeah, I mean, Pegasi are just awesome. That's why it's my OC. So, moving on.
Put it in the center.
Where were we at?
So,
alright, where were we at now? Oh, song. Your turn, Rashi. You need to give your thoughts on the song.
Actually, it's been touched on. The one thing I liked most about the song, and it was a great song, was how they take the personalities of the main six into account when they made the song.
Yep. Rarity makes a flag, Pinkie Pie blows a horn, Applejack picks berries.
Of course, Pinkie Pie blows a horn.
And by the way,
that was the funniest. That was the best part to me.
Why would you give Pinkie Pie a horn? She doesn't even know how to play it, and that becomes evident later on in the episode as well. She has no idea what she's doing.
She can play a bunch of other instruments apparently at the same time.
They're giving her kazoo. You know how amazing it would have been to get a crystal kazoo if that was like their national instrument?
Oh, God.
I mean, quite honestly, it would have been epic.
Would that work?
Probably. I mean, oh wait, no, that's my series. AR using kazoo to save the day. But anyways. No. That was funny in my series. Anyways, moving on.
Alright, so they do the song, and then they, Twilight mentions, oh yeah, there's supposed to be this crystal heart. And so I carved one out of crystal and put it in the center.
Of course.
Of course. That makes complete sense, right?
Yeah.
She
makes one out of paper mache. No.
Paper mache. Yeah, this isn't a crystal heart, it's a paper mache crystal heart. It's a little bit different.
A little.
Anyway, so the one cool thing is that they start showing this crystal fair. All the ponies, the crystal ponies come out, and what's really cool is as they start experiencing this crystal fair, they start to brighten up and revert to their crystal form.
Become all shiny.
They do become shiny. And they get, like, their joyful personality back, and they start acting like the rest of the ponies from Equestria, that, you know, happy and cheerful. And that's also when you see the librarian. She comes in and she's like, I do work at the library.
Good for you, librarian lady.
And,
a people pony.
And she is the one that starts talking about, yes, the crystal heart was, you know, the thing that was used to, pretty much cheer up all the ponies and virtually protect the Empire from harm. And, of course, this is news to the main six, and it's Rainbow Dash that hears this and flies quickly back to Twilight to tell her about this, and covers up the crystal heart and says, okay, there's a little bit of a problem here. We don't actually have the real crystal heart, and we need to go and find it.
Yay, adventure!
And so she immediately goes to talk to Cadence in Shining Armor and says, okay, I'm gonna go and find it. And as she is talking to Cadence in Shining Armor, Cadence collapses. And
Help, I've fallen and I can't get up!
And that's when Sombra starts attacking the Empire, and eventually she does stand back up, redoes her spell, but part of Sombra, the tip of his horn, is able to make it into the barrier.
He gets a foothold.
Yeah.
It's a horn hold? No.
And that's actually where the first episode ends. The first episode ends with him attacking the Empire. And so the second episode starts where you see Cadence put her shield back up and part of his horn gets cut off in the process. So now we're into episode 2, and the one thing I noticed as soon as the episode ended is that all the spoilers that they had shown us, there was so many of them and so much was spoiled, it was all from the first episode. So everyone
I was grateful that they
everyone was going into this. Everyone that was going into the second episode was completely blind. No one knew anything about what was going to happen.
I closed my eyes. That's how blind I was. that was a horrible pun. Okay, moving on.
So I thought that was cool that this second episode was a complete secret and no one knew it was going to happen.
Nope.
So Twilight is charged with going to find the Crystal Hearts, and she says the others need to keep the fair going, need to keep all the other ponies oblivious to what's going on.
Yes.
And so Rainbow Dash goes and spreads the word. And
well, she wanted to go with Twilight first, but Twilight said, "No, you stay."
Right. Because, and immediately goes to find Twilight. And says, you know, I'm coming with you, and I don't care if I have to, you know, I won't lift a claw to help you. But I'm going to come with you.
He's just that bored.
And, so Spike is actually able to join Twilight. I thought that this was interesting. I don't know if there's ever been a time, where Spike has been the one to be on the adventure, actually be able to go on the adventure and help Twilight. It's always
there was his own episode, but that doesn't really count, does it?
Right, because that was him, you know, that was Twilight following him, we'll put it that way. It was,
yeah.
You know.
She said, "Get out!" No. Anyway. Yeah, so he had his, claws in his armpits, which was kind of humorous, actually. I liked when he took them out later on in the episode and there was sweat all over him.
I don't think that happened, actually.
Yes, it did.
I didn't.
When
I
said, "I need you to go and take the Crystal Heart," he took his hands out of his armpits and they were covered in sweat.
Oh. Okay.
That was funny.
As for the others, Applejack was the one that decided to guard the Crystal Heart because Rainbow was there, but she was just scaring away any pony that got close. And the idea was
doing her job. I don't see why she had to go. She was doing a great job scaring them away.
No, she wasn't supposed to scare them away. She was just supposed to keep them from looking at the.
Encourage them to go do something else.
Right.
What's the fun in that?
They were supposed to put on the charade that nothing bad was going on. Nothing.
Oh, besides, she had to go do some jousting anyways, which is so much cooler than guarding some dumb heart statue thingy Twilight made out of paper.
So Applejack ends up guarding, and she does actually a pretty good job of it, I thought. So now Twilight decides, okay, I bet you anything the heart's in the castle, because that makes sense, right?
Not really.
Actually.
Personally, if I were King Somber, I would have hit it on the moon.
I don't know if he had the power to put it on the moon, actually.
Just build a giant catapult.
Yeah, that'll work, I'm sure.
Bury in the bottom of the ocean.
They had that technology 1,000 years ago, right?
Yeah, catapults. And magic. I mean, Celestia banished Luna's Nightmare Moon to the moon. Why not banish the Crystal Heart to the moon?
I do believe in catapults.
Catapults are God's savior to send cows over the moon to fulfill their dreams. I don't know why I made that analogy. Moving on.
Right. So she says they're looking through the castle and they can't really find anything. Twilight comes to the realization that this isn't Sombra's castle. This isn't when he was in power, his magic changed the castle. And made it his own. So this is where we get to see Twilight use dark magic for the first time. And, it's really cool that they actually have, like, the same thing that happens to her that happened to Celestia. And
yeah. This is eyes and...
Right, this is gonna, like, become a thing. Like, when they use dark magic, this is, like, what happens. They become, like, an evil version of themselves.
Not necessarily an evil version of themselves,
well,
but... Yeah.
Yeah, you get the eyes and the
yes, but it's not necessarily
magic.
an evil version of themselves. From what we know, we've only seen a little bit of this dark magic, so we don't know the full extent of what it actually does.
Right now, it's evil looking.
Right. We'll put
exactly.
it that way.
I dub it as evil because it involves black and green and red, purple.
Bad thing.
It needs to involve red.
As she shoots the crystal in the throne room, a secret passage opens up. And it's a staircase. A very, very long spiral staircase.
There are so many staircases.
And of course she goes down the stairs and, actually falls down the stairs.
Yeah, that was funny.
Cause she starts running down because it's a fairly long staircase and they don't have
and then
time.
Spike says something, slightly distracts her, and she starts falling down.
Right, she falls down.
It was funny when you see this little purple dot from her horn just start falling down the spiral stairs.
Yeah. And eventually she makes it to the bottom, and this is where we find probably one of the most this door that when you open it with black magic. AR.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So you go through this door, and it shows you your worst fear for Twilight.
Now, can I say something or no?
Yeah, go ahead.
Nope, I'm not going to now. No, okay. What I was just going to say is that when I first saw Twilight basically opened the door, because when she first opens the door, and like we said, we were blind when we first saw this. When she opened the door, I thought personally it took her to another, either the future or another dimension, sort of thing, or it showed her vision of the future. And when I first saw this, I thought it was the real thing when Celestia was yelling, or not yelling, but being stern with her about failing her test.
You see, now, here's the thing. When I saw this, and you have Celestia, talking to Twilight like this, I knew that it wasn't real.
Yeah, I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it for a second.
It has those pre-ordered ceramic mirror,
glass mirrors.
Yeah, glass mirror windows, and so I thought, maybe it was the real thing.
No, I was pretty sure that it was fake.
I thought it was an interesting take, but I knew I didn't buy it from the beginning.
And what was even better was when Spike came down, kind of snapped her out of it, and then had his own vision. And for him, his vision was of Twilight asking him to leave,
kicking him out.
Yeah, kicking him out. And it'd be kind of interesting if this door shows up later on and we start to see everyone else's greatest fears. Kind of like the opposite of the Mirror of Eris.
Although that is actually very similar to what Discord did for many of the ponies.
Well,
similar.
In the way that he kind of flipped their personality, but I mean he didn't.
Well, with Rainbow Dash, he had Cloudsdale be destroyed.
Well, yeah, he played off of that, I guess. Her loyalty to home, yes. But yeah, I think it'd be interesting if this showed up later on. But for now, it was a really interesting element that they had to overcome.
Right into this story.
Yeah. So they end up going through the door finally.
After some light magic stuff, changes the door into an actual door.
Well, right. I thought it was kind of interesting that they have this door that's powered by black magic, and she apparently uses light magic to counteract that. I don't know if that's. I mean, it's something different we haven't seen before. Light versus dark.
What do you mean we haven't seen that before? That's everywhere. Have you not seen Star Wars, good sir?
We haven't seen that in My Little Pony yet.
Okay, My Little Pony. There, you see, be a bit more specific, because we've seen the light versus dark magic everywhere.
Well, yes, that is everywhere. I'm glad they kind of put it in My Little Pony though, because it makes sense.
It gives a lot more depth to it too.
Yeah. Depth.
It sounded like you said death. Gives a lot more depth to it.
Depth with a P.
It probably would, actually.
Probably would, definitely.
Depth and death.
Yes.
All around.
And ducks.
More for everybody.
Ducks are evil.
So,
geese are
when
evil.
she goes through this door that she created, she's brought out to the outside and another seemingly never-ending staircase.
Yeah.
This one's going up this time. They can't fall down at this time. They actually have to climb.
Or can they?
Well, we'll cover that later.
And by later, we mean a few minutes.
Right. Anyway, this time, when Twilight went down the first staircase, she said, Spike, just stay here. You're not supposed to follow me.
You're not supposed to be here, Spike. Go home.
And when they go through this door, Twilight says, Spike, I want you to come with me this time. Which is actually very important later on. And so, for this part of the journey, Twilight actually takes Spike with her willingly.
And they run up the stairs while Spike crawls.
Right. And then it shifts back to the Crystal Fair going on, and Rainbow Dash is getting ready for her jousting and says, "Hey, I need an opponent." And let me just say this right now, Knight Fluttershy is best knight.
I personally think Rainbow Dash would have picked Applejack, because that would have been a much better competition.
But
that would have been
is
awesome.
But Applejack is busy protecting the Crystal Heart.
Yeah. Well, that's what you have Rarity do. You know how elusive Rarity can be.
Oh, that was bad. That was very,
terrible.
very bad.
Anyway, persuading. And anyways, I just think an Applejack versus Rainbow Dash with the jousting would have been pretty awesome, because you would have a lot. That was my soda can. You would have. I don't even know if you heard that. Would have had bit more of an epic jousting sort of match going on.
It was definitely one-sided, and of course Rainbow Dash won, but just Fluttershy wearing the armor, doing the jousting, it was pretty funny. And she did her little squeal as she flew away.
Whee!
Yeah. And,
Team Rocket's blasting off again.
But I thought the fact that Fluttershy joined the jousting event was pretty funny.
She's such a doormat.
Well, and of course, you noticed that when Rainbow Dash went to get her, she was, like, in charge of the petting zoo.
Yep.
she was with the other lamb children.
That is so gonna be a shirt now. I just created, 3 or 4 memes from this one podcast right here. We had, the people ponies, the lamb children, there was something else. There was something else I said too. I don't remember. There were a couple other things. Anyways, let's move on.
But anyway, I thought, the jousting event was definitely pretty cool. And then it goes back to Twilight, and she gets to have fun with Gravity.
Yay! After, of course, running more and getting a bit tired, and Spike's a couple flights down from her, crawling up the stairs.
Spike is on her back, remember? And
not at first. He was crawling upstairs a bit, and then she picked him up.
And Spike ends up making the observation that, okay, well, he was able to make a door that showed her where spears, why not make it a never-ending staircase? And Twilight looks up and kind of agrees with him and says, well, what if I just do this? And she uses her magic, turns the stairs upside down, and starts...
turns herself upside down.
Well, yeah, she turns herself upside down and starts sliding up the stairs, I guess you can call it.
Yeah. Personally, I thought she would have either, 1, teleported up each of the individual flights, or 2, levitated herself up the stairs.
But it's so much funner to slide.
Yeah, but I didn't expect that. It's because we were watching it blind. Like when I first watched it, I'm like, why don't she just, teleport up the stairs or levitate? When she said she's going to use magic, or refer to using magic, I'm like, finally, she's going to flips upside down. I'm like, wait, what?
And I thought that her comment was kind of funny. It's like, I thought that there was going to be gravity spells in the test, so I studied them, and I was prepared for this.
Yay. Gravity Falls. That's a great series. Anyways.
I haven't seen that yet, but I should, because Emma Larson wrote it, or did some writing for it.
It's a great series. Moving on. This isn't time for, we're not reviewing Gravity Falls.
Alright.
We should, we're not.
Yes, we're not. Anyway, then as she's sliding up the stairs, it shifts back to the Crystal Fair again. At this point in time, Sombra's magic is spreading. His horn has actually gotten him a good enough foothold where there's black crystals appearing all over the kingdom.
And it's spreading throughout the kingdom like
and
a
it
rapid
is.
disease.
Yes, absolutely.
The crystals forming in the ground, rising to the air, and spreading out further, reaching the city.
And the crystal ponies are starting to take notice of it, and it's actually reverting them back to their more depressed, non-shiny state.
Suicide? No, wait a second.
And it's at this point in time that the crystal heart, the fake crystal heart, is revealed, and all the ponies realize.
After they keep keep bugging them about it.
Right. But they finally realize,
it's a fake!
Yeah, you don't actually have the real one, and they start panicking. And it's around this time that Cadence's magic finally
dissipates.
Yeah, finally runs out, and Sombra is able to gain access. But at the same time, Twilight makes it to the top of the staircase finally and realizes that the Crystal Heart is at the top of the staircase. So they find the Crystal Heart, and Twilight runs to it and ends up hitting it.
She's like, my love!
And as she tries teleporting out of it and it doesn't work, it just teleports her right back inside and makes a choice. She says, Spike, you're gonna need to be the one to do this because I don't have enough time to try to figure out how to get out of here. It's gotta be you that brings this to Cadence. And when this happens, a lot of things happen at once.
Spike's trying to get sweaty because they're in his armpits.
But
and other many various things.
Spike grabs the heart, and at the same time, Sombra gets full access to the kingdom.
Oh, he's had full access. Now he's just charging to the castle.
And so Spike is at the top of the castle and ends up falling. He drops the heart and falls with it. And Sombra's coming up from the ground at the same time. And this is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Shining Armor picks up Cadence and throws her like a javelin.
That was
Crystal Heart.
Cadence's best missile.
Cadence is best missile.
There's another meme we created. Cadence's best missile. Lamb children. People ponies.
But that was definitely really cool. I actually had a premiere party that was going on, so I had like me and 10 other people that were there watching this. Everyone was just like, I can't believe that just happened. And of course, Cadence, I don't know how she has any energy left, but ends up catching the Crystal Heart with her magic, ends up catching Spike, and flies back down to all the other Crystal Ponies and tells them that they need to use their magic to banish King Sombra. And so they all use their magic. These blue lines start glowing throughout the ground. And
kind of reminded me of the movie Atlantis.
I never saw that movie.
How dare you? Have you, Rashi?
I can't recall.
The old cartoon one. Who made that? I don't remember.
I don't know if it was old. One of the newer.
It's old. It was 80s or 90s.
Oh, maybe you're thinking of a different one than I am.
No, wait, unless it's 90s or early 2000s. Probably 90s or early 2000s.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Anyway, so in this one, it's the Crystal Ponies that end up defeating Sombra, and there's a little bit of interpretation here, because he kind of like blows up.
Literally.
And so we're like, okay, did he die? Is there finally
Well, the
death?
thing is, when he was literally obliterated, quite literally, he was obliterated when he was hit with the magic. You see his horn go flying off in one direction. Just his horn. Yeah. That makes me wonder, future reference, possibly?
Yeah, he could be coming back, I suppose.
Because I personally would like that. Sombra, I think, did not have enough.
Well, we'll definitely talk about that later. But
that means a few minutes.
Yeah, we'll come back to that. And what I thought was kind of cool, when the Crystal Ponies used their power to defeat King Sombra, they all actually turned into actual crystal. They actually were like see-through and transparent, and they sparkled and stuff like that.
Sparkly.
Like those blind bags.
Sparkle.
Yeah, like the blind.
They make sense now.
And that not only did it change the Crystal Ponies, but Cadence became crystal. The main six became crystal. Spike and Shining Armor were also crystal. And it was actually really interesting because there was slight changes, like their main style changed for some.
And coloration of their mane.
And coloration changed, yeah. And if you actually noticed this, I had mentioned this before, is that the cover for the Crystal Empire DVD that's going to come out in December actually shows them with these new main styles, and I was wondering, well, what's going on with that?
Hi.
And so this explained it. Yeah, it's their crystal form, I guess you could call it.
The crystal powers.
And so they end up leaving, and I think it's like the Northern Lights appear when they defeat Sombra. It's like,
well, yeah. I was gonna say rainbow, but I'm like, no, it'd be a rainbow if it was G3, but that's not a rainbow.
It was like that you're able to see the Northern Lights in Camelot. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is something that has been talked about, rumored about, and I don't think it holds much merit. I don't think they would ever do this. But one of the things that is mentioned when as they're leaving the Crystal Empire is Rarity says something like, I really liked the crystal form. I wish we could have kept it. And Applejack turns to her and says, "Good things are better when they're a rarity."
Yes.
And people took this and ran with it, and they're like, "Is this the beginning of like some kind of Rarajack?"
No, I sincerely doubt that.
That's exactly what I was thinking, because I'm like, they wouldn't. No,
they wouldn't against it, but no,
they wouldn't do that.
The thing is with that, it was just a horrible pun. Applejack thinks she's funny, but no.
Well, and
they're always about the puns. They had to stick that in there.
Exactly. Why do you think they use every pony? That's a pun.
They paid the writers to make puns, not stories. Stories are bonus.
But
why do you think I said lamb children?
What's funny is that when I went back and watched this episode for the second time, with this information in mind that people were running with this information, I did notice that throughout the episode, there are a lot of back and forth between Applejack and Rarity. So it seems like they're becoming better friends, because they definitely have a lot more interaction in this episode than any other two ponies.
Considering the other ponies barely had any screen time whatsoever.
Well, I suppose.
It was a Spike episode.
It was not a Spike episode.
It was a Spike episode. Celestia bought him a stained glass window for Spike. I mean, come on.
I thought that was actually kind of cool. For once, Spike actually got the spotlight. He was the one that delivered the Crystal Heart to Cadence and actually pretty much saved the Crystal Empire. So
never do anything like that again.
And Spike actually stole the spotlight for this episode, which I thought was interesting.
Twilight passed her test.
Yes, they bring Twilight back to Camelot, and she does say, I wish I was the one that had saved.
I wish I was selfish and actually saved every pony.
But I wasn't. It was Spike that did it, and Celestia comes back with, well, the way I heard it, you were unwilling to sacrifice the Empire for your own gain, and so you had Spike do it. And for me, I appreciate a student that realizes the value of self-sacrifice.
Aww.
And that's why she says she ended up passing the test. And meanwhile, you have the main six, the rest of the main six and Spike that are outside freaking out, and she ends up coming out of the Camelot Castle,
smacking Spike with the door, obviously.
Yeah, where was Pinkie Pie? Come on, the Pinkie Sen should have gone off right there.
Why are they always getting smacked with doors? Has anyone else noticed that being a common theme?
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah, that doesn't happen in a lot of cartoons, though. Then again, I do walk into doors. But that's just me, I think, unless people are actually planning it out, which that wouldn't surprise me if people had it planned against me to actually hit me with doors on purpose while I'm walking by. But
I hate it when people hit me with a door. No,
my sister walks in every night at dinner. My sister will hit the door. No matter what, we have a sliding kitchen door she goes in and out of. Every night for dinner, she hits it. I don't know why, but she hits it every night. I'm like, how do you do that? I'm like, So, anyway.
So Twilight ends up coming out, and she talks to the rest of her,
Quad.
Yeah, the rest of her friends that I passed, and that cues the third song of the season premiere, and the success song. And, it's
a reprise.
It is a reprise, but it's a reprise that's, I think, longer than the original.
Is it longer? I couldn't tell.
It's really close to at least the same length.
Yeah, definitely.
It's probably, I think it was about the same.
And the cool thing about the reprise was that now it's all the ponies singing. Rarity starts it off, and they each have their own little part where they say, you know, it was pretty obvious that you were going to pass. I think it's Rainbow Dash's line that says, you know, since when does Twilight Sparkle ever fail?
Has she seen Lesson 0?
But, well, she didn't ever fail anything in that.
Yeah, but she didn't succeed in anything except for being a creep and then making all of her friends actually
creeping on little girls.
All that good stuff.
Anyway, but I liked it. As opposed to the very first song, this one was better. And it's probably just because they had all the ponies that were singing again. Like I said.
I love the tempo, how the tempo and beats slightly change. You have the same melody, but the tempo and beats slightly change.
Well, yeah, and now that you know that it's success, she's not worried about anything. She actually passed. It's a more upbeat version of the same song.
I never get how they're not worried about anything afterwards, because I mean, there's so much goes on in Equestria. I mean, they had Nightmare Moon return, Discord return, this Empire return. Each time, they almost die. Then you have situations in between all those situations where they almost die. So much danger and everything goes on in this land of ponies.
I don't think they were ever in danger of dying, when Discord came back. They were just, like...
They were being toyed with.
Yeah, they were just being played.
He was clearly going to eat them.
Oh, clearly.
If you say so.
So, other thoughts on this success song?
It was successful.
It was successful.
Rashi?
Very successful.
Awesome.
I concur.
I concur.
Kind of like with Art of the Dress, it was kind of two parts. It was the first part, then it was a reprise. I think if you took the first song and the reprise and stuck them together, it would make one very good song.
Yes. I'm sure people will do that as well.
Oh, of course.
And so now there's one last thing that
I know what you're going to say.
That seems to be very important. During the song, it zooms in on Celestia and Luna.
As they're watching the train go bye-bye.
And Luna uses her magic, and this book materializes in front of them.
And that's all there is.
That's all you see. But the fact that they put it in there leads you to believe that it's something important, something that deals with Twilight's, next level of her studies as they... It'd
be great. They put that book in there just to mess with us, and that book has nothing to do with this series at all. It's clearly her grocery.
I would have to hurt somebody. Just for that.
Believe it or not, that's the end of the episode, but there's so much more that went on. I was surprised that they did this, but during the episode, during the commercials, they had a My Little Pony commercial that came on, full of spoilers. It was ridiculous.
Was that the one with the Pinkie Pie G3 face?
I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't.
That was actually kind of funny. Can you make a face like this? And then she made a G3 face.
But no, the My Little Pony commercial that came on showed scenes from next week's episode, The Too Many Pinkies. It showed the scene with Rainbow Dash and her mysterious friend.
Acquaintance, rival, friend.
Yeah, we have no idea. We have no idea what that is, but it seems to be some sort of rival that he meets up with. That's a lot like her. They talked about Twilight discovering her true destiny in this season. That was really interesting. It talked about, I think it talked about, Ponyville after Applejack turned into Phillies.
I remember that.
I thought that was really interesting. I'm like, that is going to be a good episode. So, I mean, I just thought it was ridiculous that they have this one commercial during the season premiere. So there's thousands of people watching, and they show a commercial with tons of spoilers.
Yeah, well, it is a short season, so they sort of need to get the commercials out quickly for it, in a sense.
So
like the whole next time thing.
Next time on Dragon Ball. Wait a second.
I was thinking the same thing.
But now I want to ask you: did you guys see it live?
Live? No, I was busy all day.
Nope, I work when it airs.
Here's the thing, and it's become a meme already. During the second episode, there was a overwhelming amount of ads for GAC.
What is GAC?
GAC was this toy back in the 90s, which is literally just this slime that you can play with. I mean, I can't even describe it, but it's just...
Wait, did it come in little jars?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I know what you're talking about! I had that stuff.
I know, and for some reason, because these commercials played overwhelmingly during this premiere, it's become a pony meme. And
oh no!
Over on EQB,
like Lamb Children?
You can look through it, and there's a GAC pony now, and I mean, I can't believe how much this has grown just because of the GAC ad.
It'll be just like people ponies and children.
So I was really surprised by that, because I remember GAC, but I mean, it's been gone since the 90s.
It must be the off-brand GAC.
No, it's just back. I mean, the slogan was GAC is back.
GAC is back.
So
I can now see that as like put into music with AC/DC's Back in Black, but it's just like GAC's back.
Oh God.
No. I have my guitar over here. No, I won't play it.
Anyway, one more thing I want to talk about.
My day was fine, thank you. Alright, we're done now.
King Sombra.
Oh, yes.
I was extremely disappointed. He had so little screen time. You barely got to hear any lines from him, and he was defeated without any kind of characterization at all.
I think that was part of the point.
I think it may have been part of the plot, but still, nonetheless, I personally want to see more backstory with King Sombra, more story with King Sombra. I just want to see more involvement of King Sombra, more King Sombra.
I mean, the fact that he had absolutely no characterization at all. I mean, why do you think people love Discord? Why do you think people loved Chrysalis? Because you got to hear from them, you got to see their personality and what they're like.
Well, and besides, Chrysalis sang.
Well, yeah, and Chrysalis sang. I mean,
Yeah.
Sombra did not have enough lines.
And he didn't sing.
To
he screamed.
See what
There's a difference.
You have just no idea what his personality is like, except for the fact that he was evil and enslaved all the crystal ponies. That's all you know about him.
All you heard was, "Hello, my slaves."
Well, yeah.
He sounds like a pretty bad guy. I don't know if I want to know anything about him.
I mean,
seriously, his voice was evil. I mean, they got a good voice actor to make him sound like the most...
And that's why I want to know more backstory.
That's what fan fictions are for.
That's the problem with fan fictions.
There's so many to choose from.
Yes, and they're not the real things. They're not the actual fictions.
And if I'm not mistaken, I
You
think
are mistaken.
Sombra was the very first spoiler we ever saw, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he was.
They just had like a picture of him.
King Sombra.
We weren't even sure exactly what his role was right away, but I mean, people were pretty sure he was the villain. He just looked like a villain.
Yep, and now we know he sounds like a villain. Now we just need to know why he's a villain.
Then there's this overarching story that kind of takes you through the entire season. What do you guys think?
Wait, think what now? You lagged out for me.
When it comes to season 3, I think that you're gonna have the individual episodes like usual, but then there will be this overarching story like in season 1. And I bet you anything, the season finale will involve this, next level of Twilight Studies. King Sombra might return, but I think it's going to be a lot like season 1.
Like Doctor Who? No, not that. It won't have that complex of a story, I think. I think that'd be very interesting if they kept that sort of, overarching story throughout this season. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. It's a 13-episode series. Why would...
They did kind of leave it open to it, too.
Yeah, exactly.
So the only thing we can do is...
Wait
and watch.
Exactly. But it really wouldn't surprise me if they did that. You have this season so short that if they had individual just episodes on their own, like with season 2, it really wouldn't seem like it just wouldn't flow, I guess you could say, because it's so short. I'd be all right with it, but I think an overarching story would make more sense for such a short season.
Yeah, being short means you don't have to have as many filler episodes.
Exactly. So yeah. I'm very interested to see where this season goes. There was one other thing I wanted to talk about.
You said that 2 other things ago.
Actually, it was 3.
You're right. Well, I mean, that was just, I'm going on to the next
Those were just the last things on his list that he didn't count.
Well, yeah, I mean, my list is done, but I'm just adding things now.
Probably only had 2 things written on that piece of note card anyways.
Here's the thing. There are rumors going around, and of course, like I said, rumors, there is nothing for sure about this. People are saying that when it comes to the next level of Twilight Studies, that she is supposed to transform into an alicorn.
Say what?
That's what the rumors are.
I don't know if that's going to happen. Wouldn't that kind of...
I mean, it's the kind of thing that you see from, like, fanfics that get rejected by HEB.
Those are rejected fanfictions.
just something about that would make me think that it kind of would kill the flow of the show.
I don't necessarily think that.
Unless it's like a temporary thing. But
no, if it's a perfect thing, yeah, it would sort of defeat the purpose of the show a little bit. But overall, I think the concept that
it would really depend how they'd want to take it.
Exactly.
Evolve
and the concept of training to become an alicorn really adds a whole new aspect to the alicorns themselves.
Yeah, if it's just indefinite training, that could work.
Yeah, and also it still sort of makes sense. It's like magician sort of thing, training, becoming master magician. Or, okay, that was a terrible example. Jedi, let's go with that. But it also adds a new, like I said, a whole new aspect to the alicorns themselves, that like Celestia trained most of her life to become an alicorn, and then she has been and is. And with that, with being an alicorn comes so many responsibilities and all this blah. So it's just something, I don't necessarily think it'll kill it, but it'll definitely add a whole new aspect to the series if that is the case. But like Lightning said, this is a rumor, so we cannot officially claim this. But give our thoughts on it.
Leaves a lot to speculation, and I think there's a lot of things to look forward to this season.
Yep.
So, it's getting to be that time. Why don't we wrap this up? I want to hear scores. What do you guys rate this episode in a 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best?
I hate numbers.
Personally, for me, that's a great answer. Personally, for me, I would probably give it an 8.5 or 9. Probably an 8.5, just because the villain King Sombra, I really want to see more. But if this is an overarching story with a lot of King Sombra history mentioned here and there, it may go up. But
that is kind of the thing, though, because they left it.
Exactly. They left it so open. Yeah, because they left it so open for imagination.
Unless they just drop it and we're trolling us, then you can rate it, but we don't know yet.
Yeah, but I'm still...
Because it feels like it's unfinished to me.
Yeah, it definitely does. But I'm still going to give it that rating because it is unfinished as of now.
So, Rashi, assuming that... Well, let's put it this way. Let's say that we're rating it by itself, as a singular episode with no other parts to it. Let's say that...
This was the last episode ever.
Yeah.
What
would you rate it?
Well, probably agree with AR. Probably 8, 8.5. It had an almost solid story. The animation had improved. Songs were awesome.
Great songs.
It was a two-parter. I love two-parters. So yeah, I agree with AR 8, 8.5.
Yeah, personally, I don't know if I can give it... Okay, the songs are really good, and I think that's the only reason I'm going to give it as high of a score as an 8, is because of the songs. Like I said, I was really disappointed.
Well, the story itself is actually very well done.
I was disappointed about the whole somber thing. Like you said, there could possibly be more of that later on, but for now, I'm going to frown upon that fact. The songs were excellent, and I really liked seeing the new aspect of the crystal ponies. I liked Shining Armor and Cadence returning. So there was a lot of really good things to the episode, and so I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 for that, and I think we all pretty much agree on the score for this episode then.
We all abbreviate so wall. Anyways. But yeah, we pretty much are unanimous on the 8.5 agreement of this episode's rating.
The motion carries.
Yes. The motion passes.
And with that, we will end our review of episode 1 and 2 of season 3. Next week we'll look at episode 3, and if I'm not mistaken, that one's going to be called Too Many Pinkie Pies.
Yes, it is. Pinkie Pie makes many clones of herself with a magical mirror. Well, this sounds quite interesting.
Yes.
That scares me.
So we will definitely talk about that next week, and with that, we'll move into the next part of the podcast. And that was our review for the Crystal Empire parts 1 and 2, which will lead us into the news segment for this week. First off, we have some more information about season 3. We've already talked about the episode next week, which is going to be Too Many Pinkie Pies, about Pinkie Pie using a magic mirror to clone herself in order to spend time with her other friends. But up on EQD, there has been some new announcements of other synopses for other episodes. Episode 4 is going to be about the Kingdom of Crusaders, when their, I believe their cousin, Babs Seed, rejects their invitation to become a fellow Crusader and instead becomes a bully. Episode 5 is called Magic Duel. This one is the Trixie episode that everyone's been waiting for. This one says, when Trixie returns to Ponyville, she defeats Twilight and banishes her from town. That one sounds incredibly interesting, so that one's going to be fun to watch. And the newest one that has updated is episode 6, titled Sleepless in Ponyville, and this one says that Scootaloo begins to have nightmares after hearing the frightful campfire stories. So that's one that everyone's been waiting for, this the Scootaloo episode. I'm not exactly sure what it's going to focus on with her, but that one sounds very interesting as well. So lots of new information coming up, and you can find more information on that with the link in the show notes.
Next up, we have some media and a bit of information from Equestria LA that took place. We've got interviews from Tara Strong, Megan McCarthy, and Michelle Krieber that have been uploaded and are there to watch. We've got panels that include Hot Diggity Demon and Ego Raptor, Lauren Faust's panel, Writers Day 1 panel, and the Voice Actors Day 1 and Day 2 panel. Also, a little bit of news from people who were watching the streams. Apparently, Mando Pony was absorbed into the music crew of Friendship is Magic. Lauren Faust said that she misses working on the show and if conditions were right would actually return. Megan McCarthy gave a small spoiler during the second writers panel that we might get to know exactly what's been keeping Luna busy for the past 2 seasons. William Anderson made a comment that it'd be cool to have a live orchestral performance of selections from the show's score somewhere at maybe like the Staples Center in LA. Although there were no actual plans for it, it's just something he thinks would be neat. And we've got both Jason Thiessen and Weird Al want Weird Al to appear on the show. It's only a matter of working out schedules. And again, that info came from William Anderson. And lastly, we've got a couple impromptu Gangnam Style dance parties as well. So you can check out all that in the links in the show notes.
Next we have some possible spoiler information. There was someone called Enigma Sage that dug through some of the DHX investor relations documents to see if there's any pony-related news that he could find. The specific segment that he found says that the breakdown for the major projects of over $0.1 million for DHX was that $1.63 million was set aside for My Little Pony seasons 2 through 4. While it's not a complete 100% confirmation, it does look like there is at least plans for a season 4, if not more. Although, with My Little Pony being as popular as it is, I couldn't see them axing their most popular show in the first place anyway. But, yeah, I think the season 4 is looking good. So you can find more information on that with the link in the show notes.
And that brings us to Hasbro recently released a statement to Providence Journal about the Disney rumors that were going around. And they've actually come out and said that that is actually not happening, quote, at all in any way, shape, or form. So that definitely puts an end to those rumors. You can check out the full excerpt to that in the show notes.
The next one is something I'm sure you are all aware of by now. The new My Little Pony Game Off game has officially arrived in the U.S. It's out for all iOS devices as well as Android. And people are saying mixed things about it, but if you haven't tried it out yet and have the ability to do it, I would say definitely go and download it and try it for yourself. It is free, so you can find out more information on that with the link in the show notes.
And next up, we have the My Little Pony comic breaks 100,000 sold and is actually going to move on to a second printing. That news actually comes from Bleeding Cool Reports. They actually, a couple weeks ago, they had actually released that, hit 90,000 orders before it was even released. And now that they've broken 100,000, it's definitely going to go to a second printing. You can check out that in the show notes as well.
We've got some more convention news coming up. This one targets BronyCon. They brought out their new press release. For those of you that don't know, they have changed their venue. It is going to be moving from the New York downtown area to downtown Baltimore in 2013. It's going to be from August 2nd through the 4th, and in the convention center, the Baltimore Convention Center. From what it sounds like the Hilton Baltimore is attached to the convention center. So that'll probably be the hotel that most people are going to be staying at. It's 15 minutes from the Baltimore-Washington International Airport. And it'll be, like I said, a 3-day convention as opposed to 2. So right now, admissions have been open. It'll be $75 at the door, $70 for pre-registered online, and an early bird rate is offered at $65 starting November 10th. So that's already started, and you can visit their website at www.bronycon.org, and you can find out more information on that with a link in the show notes.
And that brings us to a press release about the season premiere of My Little Pony and Littlest Pet Shop. Apparently, they both broke 2 network-wide records. Namely, Littlest Pet Shop made the best ever premiere for any original series on network, and My Little Pony Friendship is Magic marks its best ever series premiere. So it looks like any fear of Pony ending anytime soon has probably been dispelled at this point. And you can find the release in the show notes.
And that brings us to our PMTV segment for this week. To start off, we have a little bit of a big announcement, is that the Brony Thank You Project has officially ended, and they have succeeded in their goal of getting a commercial put on to the Hub Network. That commercial has been posted on YouTube.
We're fans of My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, and we'd like to say thanks.
Thank you to Hasbro and the Hub for creating such a fantastic show.
Thanks to DHX Media and all the animators for making it so beautiful to watch.
To the voice actors and singers for bringing the characters to life.
To the composers for making such wonderful music.
And to the creators of the show and the writers for bringing a little more honesty,
loyalty, laughter,
generosity,
kindness, and magic into the world, for kids and bronies alike.
Show your appreciation for the show by donating toys this holiday season.
Next up we have the something that Hot Topic just put out. It's focusing on Fluttershy, and it's a mix of questions that they ask Fluttershy and her individual responses to each of them.
Hello, I'm Fluttershy, and this is my Hot Minute. Hedgehogs are great at brushing. Oh, and I know 3 robins that perform a perfect aerial braid. Ah! I'm sorry, that question startled me. Angel Bunny has always brought good things my way. He says it's all in the paw. Yes, right now. Animals are individuals. I don't like to treat them as pets. Rainbow Dash says I'm great at cheering. Yay. Oh, I just love the color of a baby chicken spring.
And as for the last one that we have a video entitled All of the Magics. This one that they put out was because someone had way too much time on their hands and has gone through all the seasons and decided to pick out every single part where they say magic.
My continuing studies of pony magic.
Our town will witness the magic of the sunrise.
Yellowman Dove? Magic!
And I knew it was you who had the magic inside. She must continue to study the magic of friendship. Ha-ha! You did it! Growing magic. A little magic
is magic.
A ton of magic.
Just as much magic as me.
She's got more magical powers than any other unicorn ever!
Come and witness the amazing magic of the great and powerful Trixie. Performs the most spectacular feats of magic ever witnessed.
No pony's as magical as Twilight.
So definitely go and check those out. The links for all those are in the show notes.
And that brings us to our music section. First up, we've got one titled I'm Brony and I Know It by the Brony Skis, which is a Sexy and I Know It parody by LMFAO.
Yeah. Yeah. When I walk on by, peace be looking like who this guy. But I don't get hurt walking down the street in my pony t-shirt, yeah. This is how I roll, pot a hat, dance out of control. It's a magic of friendship, yo, and like Twilight, I got the glow. Would you look at that pony? Would you look at that pony? Would you look at that pony? There's the back out. Would you look at that pony? Would you look at that pony?
And next up, we have a song titled Memories of the Sisters by Risen from the Dust, which is about the memories the 2 rural sisters have with each other.
Sister, I've been stranded here for 1,000 years. What they don't understand is why I am shredding all these tears. My sweet sister, I can hear you talking
And lastly, we have a re-recording of I'll Fly Higher or Skilloo's theme from Acoustic Mandobrony.
Some people call me little, some people call me small, but given the chance I'll rise up and stand above them all. Some people put me down, some people kick me around, but believe me when I tell you I'll be the one that rules this town. But they all say no, and they say you can't go, but I won't let them decide who I should be. Colorful rainbows catch my eye when I see you fly across the sky. You're like a drug that calms the mind. You're like a drug that calms the mind. I'll flap my wings and get off of the floor. I'll fly higher than ever before. Within my hairs I start to soar. Within my hairs I start to soar.
And with that, it brings us to our casting call. We have a Season 3 Abridged project looking for voice actors. They're going to be creating an abridged series, which is going to look very professional, but it will take a while. The more help they get, the faster they'll be able to get it done. And they already have Miss Bunaswan helping them. So if you want to get in on that, you can send any submissions, questions, and random information to series3abridged@gmail.com.
That brings us to the fanfic segment for this week to close it out. This one that I found has a little bit different of an approach. It's technically a sad story, but at the same time, it's kind of like it's really interesting the way it was written. It's actually written in the point of view of Slender Man, or in this case, Slender Mane. And it's called I Would Smile If I Could by Haku1013. And right now, it's one chapter long and probably could finish where it ended if it wanted to. But I think that there's more that he's planning on adding to it. And it's pretty much about Slender Mane finding Scootaloo and the events that happen afterwards. So this one's definitely worth a read if you have a chance, and you can find the link for that in the show notes. So that ends our podcast for this week. Be sure to tune in next week and we'll have our episode review of Too Many Pinkie Pies. Until that, I'm your host, Lightning.
I'm your co-host, Trasher.
And we'll see you next time.